The NDSU men's basketball team will face off with Duke tomorrow night.
We talk with the candidates for student body president Mason Rademacher and running mate Joseph Vollmer.
And what's in your future at the Psychic Fair?
You're watching Bison Information Network News.
Good evening. The NDSU men's basketball team is headed to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 4 years.
Over spring break, the Bison were able to take charge and take home the win at the Summit League tournament in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. On Sunday, the team hosted a selection show watch party to see where and who they'd play. The Bison also had a meet and greet prior to the show where they signed autographs for the fans. The Bison played their first tournament game yesterday, defeating North Carolina Central 78-74. Later in sports, Isak Dinesen will have highlights from the game. New Zealand, attempting to move forward after last week's shooting rampage. 50 people were killed and 50 others were injured. As tragic as the day was, authorities say it could have been worse. John Lawrence reports. The suspect says he wants to represent himself in court. His next appearance is scheduled for April 5th.
With student body presidential elections approaching, we wanted to give students a chance to get to know the candidates. This week, Bison Information Network reporter Gabby Hersch sat down with presidential candidate Mason Rademacher and his running mate Joseph Vollmer to discuss their campaign.
All right, so I'll have you just introduce yourselves as candidates for this student body election.
Yeah, so my name is Mason Rademacher, and I am currently running for student body president here at NDSU, and currently I have the pleasure to serve as the Executive Commissioner of External Affairs on behalf of student government here at NDSU. So I spend a lot of my time currently advocating for the students of NDSU and taking the messages that we receive from students and specific pieces of legislation that they're passionate about, and taking that message to the legislative session.
And I'm Joseph Vollmer. I am the vice presidential candidate. I am the assistant executive commissioner of external affairs. So while Mason is off in Bismarck, I do a lot of the things here on campus with the commission, working with getting information to Mason that he might need for his testimonials, just relaying information from him to the rest of the student body.
So you guys are used to working together then?
Yep.
We are, yeah.
Perfect. Is that what has influenced you to run together?
I would
I'd
say,
yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's a big piece of it. I joined student government halfway through first semester, and Joe and I had worked together a little bit previously beforehand. Our majors overlap slightly, so we had some knowledge of each other beforehand. But once we started working together in student government, I mean, it was an instant fit, and that's why we wanted to make this next leap and run together.
Very true.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for this campaign, then, what is your running platform?
Yeah, so when Joe and I sat down to develop our platform from the very beginning, we really wanted 3 visionary areas that'll positively impact all students throughout their time at NDSU in these 3 different areas. The first way is through their organizations, the second is through their education, and then the third is through their career preparation. So we really believe that honing in on each of those 3 areas will really be able to create an impact that's not only long-lasting, but also something that's extremely impactful and truly does make a difference.
And are there any changes to the current way things are being done or way things are happening, or just to policies in general? Are there any changes that you guys plan to implement or edit?
What we've been able to do already is identify 5 key areas in which our student organizations on campus feel like they could use some more additional support and assistance from student government. So what we're really passionate about is providing that opportunity for these organizations to further connect and collaborate with student government. So then instead of just being an oversight body, we're really that collaborating piece, and student government becomes that body that's there to truly help all of our 300 plus organizations on campus. So not only can their organizations be as strong as possible, but their members within them are extremely strong as well.
And as well as working with the Tri-College partnership that we have to ensure students know about that opportunity that they have to take other credits from different institutions if we don't offer them here at NDSU, and just the overall benefits of that can have on their career preparation. So.
Yeah, because I recently found out about the Tri-College system this year. It was far too late for me to get involved with that, and I was kind of bummed. So I think that could definitely use some more visibility.
Yeah, there's kind of a dual aspect to what we want to focus on with Tri-College. One of it is that accessibility for students, because we know that there are students out there who get stuck. And then the second aspect is just trying to create more collaboration opportunities amongst those institutions. We have institutions from, obviously, Fargo, then Moorhead with M-State, Concordia, and MSUM, and then also NDSCS. So coming together as
You can catch the full interview on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/NDSUBin. And stay tuned next week to meet the opposing candidate, Cole Nichols.
The NDSU Career Center recently released the Career Outcomes Report for 2018. The report gives a snapshot of every student in every undergraduate major who graduated in August, December, and May of the past year. NDSU graduated an average of 82% of their bachelor degrees from every college offered within the university. 93% of those graduated were full-time students. NDSU also graduated 83% for their graduate to doctorate students, of which 92% were full-time students as well. The Career Center has been publishing these reports since 1995.
And now we'll go to Gabby Hersch with our weekend weather update. Gabby?
Go whenever.
Thanks, Heather. Spring is officially here, and if you've been outside, you know it too. Right now, it's 36 degrees with 8-mile-an-hour winds and a 10% chance of snow. For the rest of the week, we can expect mostly cloudy skies with temps reaching up to almost 50 degrees on Wednesday. On Friday, we have a high of 37 degrees, low of 22. Saturday, up again into the 40s with 41 and a low of 28. Sunday, again, 36, low of 17. On Monday, dropping back down to 33 degrees with a low of 26. Tuesday and through Thursday, we've got it up into the 40s with a high on Wednesday of 49. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. Coming up, why internships are so important for college students, and a powerful figure in the business world visits NDSU.
We'll be right back. As we near the end of the semester, it is usually a great time for students to apply for summer internships. The NDSU Career Center offers many different resources to apply for opportunities. There are numerous benefits and staff that are available to help with the application process. Communications students can contact the internship coordinator, Kay Beckerman, via email or by scheduling an appointment online. Faculty says it is important for students to get internships while they are still in college.
Internships are important to students to get build career skills, life skills that once you graduate and you get out into the competitive market, that you have some background and some experience.
After surviving a suicide attempt of jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge in 2000, Kevin Hines has dedicated his life to spreading mental health awareness. On Wednesday, March 27th, he will be giving a speech at the NDSU Shield Center from 7 to 8 p.m. during the Passport to Wellness Fair. Since his suicide attempt, Hines has written 2 books and made 1 documentary on the subject of suicide prevention and mental health. His speech will be preceded by the Passport to Wellness Fair, which runs from 6 to 7 p.m. Students participating in the event will have the chance to win 1 of 5 $50 campus cash gift cards.
Next Thursday, the NDSU Memorial Union is set to host one of the nation's most powerful women as Land O'Lakes CEO Beth Ford will give a speech. Ford will be the headlining guest speaker at the 27th Annual Aldrich C. Bloomquist Lectureship. She has held leadership titles in 7 companies, including PepsiCo and Mobil, and is currently one of just 25 women at the head of a Fortune 500 company. The event will take place in the Great Plains Ballroom beginning at 11:30 a.m. Admission is free for students and at $25 for the general public with lunch and a parking pass included. Registration is due by March 26th.
Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney has declared a state of emergency as he fears record spring flooding for the Fargo-Moorhead area. Mahoney is calling for volunteers to come around and fill sandbags around Fargo's many dikes and levees. The goal is to fill about 100,000 sandbags a day to prepare. Mahoney had already enlisted the help of Fargo and West Fargo schools, as well as NDSU. The city plans to close bridges on 12th Avenue North, 1st Avenue North, and 52nd Avenue South. Other closures may follow. The project, titled Sandbag Central, will open on March 26th and will continue to fill sandbags until the goal is reached.
What you can expect to see at this week's Fargo Film Festival.
And a look at what Hollywood is releasing in the coming months when we come back.
The 19th Annual Fargo Film Festival kicked off Tuesday at the Fargo Theater. Short and feature-length films made by local, national, and international filmmakers are screening throughout the week in addition to several noteworthy guest speakers. One of the main attractions this year is a conversation with John Heder and Efren Ramirez, the actors who starred in the 2004 film Napoleon Dynamite. There will be a screening of the movie tonight, followed by a Q&A with the actors. Friday's events include an evening with four-time Academy Award visual effects winner Richard Edlund, who is a former Fargo local and the recipient of the festival's prestigious Ted M. Larson Award. The event will continue until Saturday, March 23rd. Information about the films and a full schedule are available at www.fargofilmfestival.com.
If you suffer from seasonal allergies, you might not be excited about spring being here. But in today's Health Minute, Meredith Wood gives you some tips that might make you feel a little better this year.
Ah, spring. When the snow melts, the days become longer, and the flowers are in bloom. And the pollen. All the pollen. According to the CDC, more than 50 million Americans suffer from allergies, and many of those are considered seasonal. In the spring, it starts with pollen released from the trees, followed by grass later in the season. Those who suffer from seasonal allergies face an onslaught of symptoms such as sneezing, stuffy nose, itchy nose, watery eyes, and those are just to name a few. If you're one of the millions that go through this every year, there are a few things you can do to ease the discomfort. Check the pollen count in your area. Several weather apps will provide that information on a daily basis. When the pollen is high, limit your exposure by staying inside and keeping windows closed. Change out the air filters in your home frequently and make sure you are using HEPA filters. Wash your hair before going to bed. If you've been doing things outside, toss those clothes in the laundry when you get back in. And don't forget to talk to your doctor about taking a daily allergy medication, including a nasal spray. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Due to technical difficulties, we will not be airing the Hollywood Minute that we had planned. But after the break, Isak Dinesen is going to have our sports update for us. What do you have, Isaac?
So we're going to be talking about, as you mentioned earlier, the NDSU men's basketball team. They were in Dayton, Ohio last night. They had their game. And we'll also be talking about the men's and women's track and field teams here at NDSU, tearing it up when we come back. The scenario was nothing new for the Bison men's basketball team heading into last night. Survive and advance, as it did throughout the Summit League tournament. NDSU won 3 games in 3 nights behind excellent performances top to bottom in Sioux Falls. The team proved it could play loose and confident. Now against the UNC Central Eagles in front of a national audience, the stage was set for the Bison to prove once again they belonged in the field of 64, with the winner set for a date with Duke on Friday. So let's see how the program fared as they were looking for just their second tournament win in the Division I era. Here we are, the Bison and the Eagles taking each other on last night in Dayton. The Eagles, the champions of the MEAC Conference, the Bison, the champions of the Summit League. Early in the first half, it's Chris Quayle probing the defense and feeding it out to Tyree Eady from outside. He had 7 points in this one off the bench for the Bison. Later, Cameron Hunter off a screen, count that one and the foul. He also had 7 points off the bench for the Bison in this effort. Bison with the early lead in the first half. Now Hunter's going to fire it ahead to Tyson Ward ahead of the pack, and he's going to lay it in with his left hand. Bison led by 6 at the break, 40-34. Later, he's going to catch a pass from Rocky Cruiser and knock down this 3 to put the Bison up by 10. They lead by as much as 13 in the second half before the Eagles came storming back. As it is Larry McKnight Jr. wide open in the left corner, knocking this 3 down to tie the game at 58. Then later, he's going to catch this pass and knock this 3 down to put the Eagles up by 5. Late in the second half, but the Bison would retake the lead. Tyson Ward would then go to work on the low block, spins past his defender and lays it in, and then he's back on the block again. And he's going to power his way past his defender and score again. And the Bison would hang on and win this game by the final score of 78-74. Tyson Ward finished with 23 points and 6 rebounds. Vinny Sheed also chipped in with 14 points in the effort as well for NDSU. Their next game will be played tomorrow night in Columbia, South Carolina, against the number 1 overall seed, the Duke Blue Devils. The game will tip off at 6:10 p.m. and that can be seen on CBS. With the first 4 matchups wrapping up last night in Dayton, here's a quick recap of the first round games from earlier today. The first game of the day featured the first upset as 10th-seeded Minnesota beat 7th-seeded Louisville by 10 points. 2 games that went down to the wire saw 5th-seeded Auburn and 6th-seeded Maryland narrowly avoid upsets by 1 and 2 points respectively. One game that also just finished recently resulted in an upset as 12th-seeded Murray State took down 5th-seeded Marquette. There are no buzzer beaters yet to report on as of this recording, and the first round will continue tomorrow night before the second round runs from Saturday until Sunday. The NDSU women's basketball team is undergoing a national search to find their next head coach, as the university and former coach Maren Walseth mutually agreed to part ways last week. The Bison finished 7th in the Summit League for a third consecutive season after a 7-22 record this year, which included losing 10 of its final 11 games. Walseth was hired in 2014 following prior coach Carolyn DeHoff's 6-year run and won 11 games in her first season, a number the program would ultimately not improve upon under her leadership. NDSU went 40-106 in the 5 seasons under Walseth, including 19-59 in conference play. The program has yet to make it to the NCAA tournament in the Division I era and has not had a winning season since 2010. Following a 1-3 start to their 12 games in the state of Florida, the Bison softball team has since caught fire, winning each of its last 8 games. 5 of those 8 have been decided by 2 runs or fewer, and the team won all 7 games it played in Clearwater, Florida. With this run of success, NDSU is now 18-11 on the season, though they have yet to defeat a ranked team. Bison players took both the Summit League Player and Pitcher of the Week honors, won by redshirt senior Katie Schultz and sophomore Kara O'Byron, respectively. Schultz hit for a .458 average and stole 5 bases last week in Clearwater, and O'Byron allowed 1 run in 13 1/3 innings over 2 starts. NDSU is back in action this Saturday, traveling to Fort Wayne, Indiana, to take on the Mastodons as they begin Summit League Conference play. In the time past since our previous newscast aired live and for this one to go live, the Bison track and field teams ended their indoor season and started their outdoor season. But if there's one constant for each of these programs during this time, they continue to perform at a high level. Peyton Otterdahl became the first Bison individual national champion in the Division I era when he won the shot put title back on March 8th. The next day, he won the weight throw title, becoming just the second athlete in NCAA history to win both throwing titles. Now the outdoor season has started, and NDSU picked up right where they left off. Bison athletes took part in 2 invitationals last week in Bradenton, Florida and Tempe, Arizona, after both teams were picked to finish first in the Summit League this outdoor season. For the women's team, junior Amy Harrington won the hammer throw event in Tempe, and Amanda Levin won the long jump and 400-meter hurdles in Bradenton, among other Bison victories. As for the men's team, it was Otterdahl again stealing the spotlight as he set personal bests in the hammer throw and discus events in Tempe, and down in Bradenton, Bison athletes won 10 separate events. Not much else to be said on that. Both teams will travel to Austin, Texas next week to continue their seasons. And finally, yet another one of Major League Baseball's biggest names got paid a hefty sum this week. Mike Trout has signed the richest contract in professional sports history, and yes, that last part does sound familiar. The Los Angeles Angels outfielder will sign a 10-year, $363 million extension to remain with the team. He was set to hit free agency after the 2020 season, but the Angels decided to show Trout the money in advance, bringing his contract's total to 12 years, $430 million. The previous largest contract was just signed last month by current Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Bryce Harper. This tops his dollar figure by $100 million. Trout has only been to the playoffs once in his career and is likely to get plenty of opportunity to play in October by the time this contract expires. Now back to the Bison. It was a really nice game. I thought they played down in Dayton. It was a nice performance. What did you guys think about that game?
I thought it was great. I'm really excited to watch them play tomorrow night against Duke.
I thought they played exceptionally well. They were really good shooting the basketball. The only really issue I saw was their rebounding. They had a little bit of issue rebounding the ball, but other than that, they played excellent defense. They played really well offensively and were able to ultimately pull away from NC Central in the end.
Any vague score predictions for tomorrow night's game?
I can't speculate.
As long as the Bison can keep it under like a 30-point loss, I think I'll be pretty happy.
Fair enough. And you can also catch Joe and I on our weekly talk show, X's and O's. We'll be discussing all 30 Major League teams as Major League Baseball season will fully get underway in the coming weeks.
Up next, psychics and mediums were giving out readings to NDSU students.
When we come back.
What does the future hold? Students found out today at the Psychic Fair hosted by Campus Attractions and the Special Events Committee. Local psychics were available for consultation today in the Great Room of the Memorial Union. Some of the services they provided included handwriting analysis, tarot card readings, and palm reading. A medium was also present for consultation. Students lined up to talk to psychics about lost loved ones and other concerns they have with their spiritual lives. While movie depictions often show tarot card readings forecasting death or love, one local psychic said that he sees it as more of a guiding compass for your life and spiritual progression.
My experience, I think it was very positive. I have never done this before, so I was very nervous, and the person that had my reading done was super friendly, super nice. She gave me a lot of very personal information that I had never thought anyone would know. It's an opportunity to not pass up, and I have never done it, and I've always been so interested, and I don't know, I'm not superstitious or anything, but I thought it was really cool to stop by and be able to do so.
I wonder if the psychics can tell us how our men's basketball team will hold up against Duke tomorrow night. Stay tuned for more campus attractions events and check out their schedule at www.ndsu.edu/campusattractions.
Thank you for watching this edition of Bison Information Network News.
Be sure to check us out on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel at the Bison Information Network.
And catch us back here next Thursday night. Have a great night, everyone.